Hello, folks. Greetings from the United States of America, Louisiana, founded in 1699, and Yorkshire, England, the United Kingdom of Great Britain, Northern Ireland. Hello, Stuart. His country was founded like around the beginning of the world. Today, we're looking at a beer from neither one of our countries, neither country belonging to us, but it's Mexico, and it's Modelo Especial, introduced in 1925.
Now, you've got the can, I've got the bottle.
Yeah, I've got the 24-ounce can, or in milliliters, it is 710. You have 355.
Yeah, 55.
So, about double, yeah, it's double the amount. Now, do they sell the cans in Yorkshire, England?
I've not seen them. This is the only variation I've seen of Modelo. I know you've tried a few different Modelos.
Yes, and in fact, hold on, let me get some better lighting. In fact, they sell some very big bottles over here, these tall 24-ounce, strangely shaped bottles. You can look at them on the Modelo website. Now, the strange thing about Grupo Modelo is they have two separate websites. I don't know if you noticed that. They have Grupo Modelo Mexico and GrupoModelo.com. And they're talking about the beer. It's made with water, barley malt. The adjunct is corn. They use two-row pale barley. And I'm going to tell you what they say about the beer, how it's going to taste, and you tell me if you think their description is accurate. It's 145 calories, by the way. These ingredients give it a slightly sweet, well-balanced taste with a light hops character and crisp finish. Okay, and it's been imported into the United States since 1990, and it was first canned in 1966.
So it's been going a good long time.
Yes, almost 90 years, and it's the first beer in Mexico ever canned, they say.
Yeah.
And it's the most popular Mexican canned beer in America. It's the #3 import into America. You know, Corona's the #1 import, and I think maybe Heineken is #2. It's a close race, but Corona's got them all beat. But Modelo doesn't care because they own Corona.
You definitely get that corn smell because my dad's a fisherman and he uses corn to fish. And it does smell like corn.
They say slightly sweet.
Yeah, could go with that.
It's golden. Straw. Looks like straw. A little more golden than normal, though, I think. A little more gold than yellow.
Yeah.
Now, the Negro Modelo, I think there's a little bit of a mistake on the website because they say that Negro Modelo came out in 1925, but on the website it says it actually came out in 1930. It doesn't matter, but that's the dark version of it with more alcohol. In 2013, now this is for sure, they introduced the Modelo Especial Chelada, which is made with clam.
What?
Yeah, it's made with tomato juice and clam broth. I don't know if you've ever had that.
No.
Pretty good, though. It's not too strong like some of those chiladas, Bloody Mary type beers. Now, this beer, of course, I didn't see it around much, say, 10 years ago, but since there's so many Hispanic people living in America now, many of them legally, you see a lot of these in the grocery stores, and you see people buying the big single cans and the big single bottles, and of course the 12-packs and the 6-pack of bottles, etc., etc. And at any Mexican restaurant, you know.
So because you live in America and get the chance to try more Mexican than me, have you paired this with Mexican food?
Good question. I don't know. I don't recall, but I have had other Mexican beers with Mexican food, and it goes very well. And there must be some validity to it, because if it was terrible, would it be that popular in Mexico? Would millions of Mexicans a day drink it because they thought it was awful and they hated it and they wish they were drinking something else? I don't think so.
It kind of tastes like a cross between Carlin and San Miguel.
Wow. Couldn't find San Miguel, sorry to say. Looks like it got yanked from our market. It wasn't selling, I guess.
No. Well, you can always... In fairness, there is too many lagers out there. I mean, how many lagers do you really need?
It's the same thing with IPAs. How many IPAs can a person drink? They almost all taste the same anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, don't let me say that online.
But, I mean, I work a cash and carry, and the amount of times people are buying all these different lagers.
Yeah.
And the majority of them, like you say, the taste, like a fraction of difference between all of them.
Right.
With the lagers, or the bitters, or the IPAs, like you say. I mean, like, how many recipes can you have of the same?
Right. There's a difference, but the difference is not major. And, you know, you get people, and I don't care what the style is, stouts, lagers, pale ales, India pale ales, whatever. They'll say, oh, no, I hate that one, but I love this one. I hate this one. I love that one. But then when you sit down and objectively look at them, you'll find that, why do you hate one and love the other? They don't really taste that different.
No.
Now, that being said, how do you think this holds up with other lagers in the 4.5% alcohol range, this being 4.4?
I mean, we've been examining a few lagers over this past few months, and we've noticed the smallest of fraction difference between the two. There's either one that's really sharp in the palate, one that's nicely overbalanced. You know, but the more you drink it, the better it gets.
Yeah, and it goes well. And lagers are so good with food, right? They just pair so well with food. I would not want to drink a saison with a meal.
No, I mean, this probably falls into the category of the session lagers. You get your session lagers, and you get your quality lagers. Peroni lands in quality lagers. Heineken, and then you get your session lagers, which is your Beer Marotte, your San Miguel, your Carling.
Right. I can't argue with that. Now, they did update the label in 2010. They wanted to they said they wanted to have the lions featured more on it. They wanted to make a more modern label. So this is a more modern label design. But over the years, it hasn't changed, remarkably. It has changed. Now, I'm going to go put this can up.
The difference between mine and yours is the container.
Yeah. Yeah, you have the attractive foil neck, and I have that on the Negro Modelos that I have in my refrigerator right now. Let's see. What was I going to say?
What do you get with the skunkiness? I mean, I've noticed that it's not skunkiness.
No.
It's a sweetener because it's been held in a container for a while. But if you let it breathe in the glass, that smell dissipates.
Yeah, no skunkiness, and now the aroma is really neutral.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of corn, like a tortilla.
Yeah, but it's mainly because of the sweetness in the lager. If you pour it initially, it smells skunky, but it's not. It's just the sweetness being held in a container for a long period of time.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of people will take a beer and think it's skunky, but it isn't really.
No, it's a sweetener. You put anything into a small confined space for a long period of time, it's going to give off aroma. But once you let that breathe and all that stuff, it's a nice tasting lager. A nice taste.
Yeah, I think you're right. The key is letting it breathe. People will dump, the clear bottle, yeah, we have an issue with that in the green bottle, but people will pour it in the glass and immediately smell it and say, oh, it's gone, it's ruined, blah, blah. But if they would let it set for 1 minute, 60 seconds, and then they smell it, it wouldn't be that.
No, because you
Really,
usually look
really
like
bad.
corn instead. But that strong corn aroma has slowly dissipated.
Yeah, yeah. The corn is still there in the taste though.
Yeah.
But now, if you look on Rate Beer, it's a 3 out of 100. They rate it one of the worst beers on the planet. Same thing, Beer Advocate says it's poor. It's not good. The Bros, however, who are a little more objective, they say it's okay.
I mean, of all the lagers that we've had over the past couple of weeks, months, it's not one of the top lagers that we've had. It's probably down near the bottom. But we've had a good selection of quality lagers. We've had Beamerotte, we've had Peroni, and last week we had the Anchor California lager.
Yeah. Sure.
And you can taste when there's more effort being put into the lager.
Yeah. Now the California lager is more flavorful.
Yeah.
I think the Birra Moretti is a little more gourmet.
Yeah.
This might go along with. I'm not sure about Corona Extra. Maybe Corona Extra's got a little more character. This might go along with, like you said, a Carling. We do get Carling Black Label, but it's very rare these days. In America, this might go. Well, you don't get it. I'm thinking of. No, I won't mention that, but I can think of some in America this would go along. Well, yeah, maybe Keystone beer, but I think Keystone beer is blander than this.
Well, Keystone's very similar to Carling and that kind of thing. And it's basically what it is mass produced for a lower price so the customer can buy more.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. Because they're putting, expanding the amount of ingredients that are in this, that's why you can get it cheaper and it doesn't taste as as high quality as Heineken and Beamerotte.
No. Oh, I know what I was going to say. There's a special brewery, okay, in Mexico where all the beers produced for export to the United States are brewed. It's a special brewery now. There are different breweries around Mexico that brew the beer for the Mexican market. I'm talking about the whole array of Grupo Modelo, and they own a lot of different beers. Some are even craft beers. All right. But this special brewery right up close to the U.S. border is the one where all the Mexican beers from Grupo Modelo are brewed, and they come right across the border on those trucks into America. Why they use a special brewery for that, I don't know, but that is the case. It's in Piedras Negras in the state of Coahuila.
Well, the majority of the time, a lot of these big companies set their brewery in a location that's cheaper to produce the beer, but also return the price over to the local people. So it gives them a job and it helps with the being cheaper than what it would be. I mean, if you put if they brewed this beer in an expensive part of, a popular part of Mexico, it would have to put the price of Modelo up.
Right, because if it was brewed at the main brewery in Mexico City, they would have to drive hundreds of miles north, then cross the border. So but they're brewing it literally about 10 miles from the border. So they're just a quick hop across the border and then off in the different trucks around America, saving a lot of money. But then they can still say it's brewed in Mexico.
Yeah, it's to help with the commerce of the beer. So you don't have to travel as far, and it helps with the local area, which helps.
Right. Now, you're remarking. No. Oh, do you get the Negro Modelo there? No, right? No.
No, I've never seen it.
That's a shame because that's more of an exotic. It's a little more higher quality one, but they tout that on their website. It's a little more gourmet. Of course, it's going to cost a little more. But anyway,
I think this costs about £1.50 for the little bottle.
Okay, mine was $2.29 for the tall double capacity can.
So you got better value.
Yeah. And I might be able to find it even cheaper. Some stores might have that big can for $1.99. Less than.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about the Anchor California Lager last week
Yeah.
on price. Now, for my can, it costs the same as that big can that you showed me afterwards.
Yeah.
And was the big can about the same in flavour?
I think I showed you a can of Milwaukee's Best Ice.
Yeah, I'll also.
Well, the flavor's different, but the Milwaukee's Best Ice does have a flavor. It's a pun. It's a. I have a hard time describing that flavor. It's like I call it gamey, like
Yeah.
chewy, like almost like you're eating the beer a little bit, which some people like, other people don't like. It's a lot of alcohol. It's 5.9%, so it's made for delivering certain promises to people, so to speak. But some people might say, well, that's a better value than the California Lager, because even though the California Lager is nice, it's enjoyable, it is small, and it is rather expensive, so they might be willing to make a trade-off in possibly less quality, but you can get a lot more of it for your money. So, I mean, a lot of times when I do videos, I'll talk about how one beer is better than the other, but then I'll bring up the point that it's not appreciably better. And then that gets me into trouble.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the main reason people drink lagers is to go with meals.
Yeah.
If it's a really hot day, lagers are also, and that's how versatile lagers are. You can have them when it's really hot day, or you're really having a hot meal. You like spices.
Oh, yes.
And like you say, you can't have a saison or a farmhouse ale with your meal.
No.
A
The
saison or a farmhouse ale in the hot weather sometimes works, but it doesn't work all the time. It depends if it's been really chilled down. And it's the same with IPAs. IPAs you can't pair with food, or you can sometimes have a hot day, but they're a bit cloyy after a while.
Yeah.
Bit heavy.
And I have a real problem with the Hefeweizens with food, because Hefeweizens have that strong banana, some people say bubble gum flavor, and I do not want to eat steak and potatoes with gravy and then have banana sweetness coming in while I'm eating. I don't know, if I find it throws the food off very badly, but if I was eating steak and potatoes and drinking a lager, I would enjoy it more. But
now,
some
people, new drinkers, would you recommend Modelo?
Yeah, I think it's a good introductory beer. When you talk about new drinkers, it's hard to really. Hold on a second. I'm getting. Okay, I'll respond to him later. Let me get off that page because that's going to keep interfering. No, I'm going to respond to him. Anyway, no.
But yeah, it just shows how versatile lagers are. I mean, we've said this enough times. A lot of people say, "Oh, you shouldn't drink lagers. You should drink IPAs." And so we do drink both, but it's nice to appreciate these expensive styles like lager. Lager is the most expensive beer to make because it takes that long time.
Right, to develop it, yeah. And now you talk about early drinkers. It depends. You know, it's kind of. It seems like people think there's always this progression that people start with light beer and then they go to regular lagers and then they go up, and then eventually they're at Russian Imperial Stouts. But it's not always the case, because I'm thinking of my daughter. She started drinking beers, and she jumped right into the deep end of the swimming pool, so to speak, because she didn't know, she doesn't do beer research, and frankly she doesn't care. Now, one of the first beers she tried was the Chimay Red Cap. Okay, so that's pretty strong, right? So her perspective is a little different. She has problems appreciating lagers and lighter beers because her first experience was with the really strong flavors, and then plus she doesn't really drink beer on a regular basis, so that's part of it too. And when she's drinking beer, it's sort of like an event, and I guess when you're having it as an event, you want something that's more full flavored. I don't know. That's just her perspective on it. Whereas
Well,
I'm doing this kind of like constant rotation every day of my life for the last almost 19 years, so it's a little different way to look at it.
it's always nice to keep your balance in check from the everyday drink like the lager to the every other day, which is like the IPAs, stouts.
Right, I had a saison this morning. It was very good. No complaints. Now I'm drinking a lager, and later on this evening, she might be coming over so we can do a video review for a beer that is very different. It's an ale, a golden ale brewed with Chardonnay grapes. So that's gonna be, that's one of those specialty beers,
Yeah, I saw a few now. I've had some with grapes. I've had some with. I mean, Dogfish Head do one with grape must and stuff like that. I mean, there's just crazy beers out there. But it's nice that no matter what, like the breweries like the Modelo do, they constantly churn out the same beer, and the only people that have negativity towards it is the people that drink IPA, stouts. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that beer. I don't know why there's a lot of people negative towards it.
Yeah, I never could understand why there has to be everything or nothing. Like, why couldn't you just enjoy all of it? But some people have this exclusivity or whatever. I don't know. I just never could grasp that concept. But now, what do you think? To finish this up. What do you think about this idea that people are rating it a 3 out of 100? Do you think that's a sensible rating? I mean, this is not exceptional beer by any means, but does that make sense? A 3, that means it's 97% bad? I mean, or even compared to other beers if they're doing it as a comparison. I don't understand that.
Myself, when I do my beer reviews, I don't rate them because the majority of the time, it's the first time I've had it. Or it's the first kind of that style I've had. So me for rating that kind of style is just wrong because I think, I always said it other times, I think you should have the beer at least 10 times before you can actually give it a rating. Because, I mean, I probably had this about 3 to 4 times, and I had no objections about buying it. I have no objections about buying other lagers, because unless you give it your 10 times, you've had it at least 10 times. But for me, because I can look back at all the beers I've had and list this as a lager, whereas you yourself, you say you rate it on what the category of the beer is. As a lager, I'd say probably average.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I guess that score's probably around 33 out of 100, something like that.
But not 3.
No, not 3. For 3?
I think if it was a 3, you wouldn't be able to drink it.
No, you won't be able to drink it. You'd be physically off and not want to. I mean, I drank almost this now. It's almost gone. For a 3, you wouldn't be able to, you'd be like, oh man, you wouldn't even put it in your mouth. That's a 3.
The smell would be so bad. Yeah, anything under a 10. I think anything under a 10 out of 100, you really wouldn't be able to drink it.
See, for a 10, you'd probably, the smell would be bad, but not enough for you to taste it. But after tasting it, then you'd stop drinking it. That's about 10.
Yeah, anything below a 10, you really probably be advised not to drink it. Now, to finish this up, if somebody came to you and said, Stuart, I'm thinking about trying different Mexican beers. What do you think about Modelo? Is it worth trying? What would you tell them?
See, because I've only had the Modelo, you've had, how many variations of Modelo have you had? About 2 or 3?
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, so I've not had that many Mexican beers, so I'd have to list it in the category of Mexican beers. So if you want to try your first Mexican beers, I'd suggest this one because it's readily available no matter where you go. I mean, you're in the US of A. I'm here in Yorkshire. So it's the easiest Mexican beer to try. I think there's Desperado. Is Desperado Mexican or Spanish?
We don't. I don't know if we get Desperado around here. Could be.
Oh, so that is Spanish.
We get the Estrella Dam, which is Spanish, and we get.
Yeah.
Well, we used to get San Miguel. I don't know what happened with that.
I think it's the only readily available Mexican beer, really.
Not even
So if
Corona,
you
huh?
try your first Mexican,
What about
what's that?
Corona Extra? What
Oh,
about,
Corona. Yeah. So yeah, you've got your two choices between Mexican beers. You've got the Corona Extra and the Modelo, which doesn't give you much of a variety to try from, but it's not off-putting. So I would suggest people to try it.
now, so you don't get over there where you are. You don't get the Tecate
No.
or the Dos Equis
No.
or the Victoria or the Pacifico or
We get Pacifico.
yeah, we get a lot of Mexican beers around here. We just started getting Montejo, which is sold in Texas, not Louisiana. We get the Victoria, which is a Vienna lager. You know, it's interesting that most of the Mexican beers were started by Germans.
So let us return the question.
All of them.
Would you, because you've got more of a table of Mexican beers to choose from, would you recommend this beer to others?
Yes, but I would tell them it's going to be very mild. Like it's not going to have a big flavor character, which some people would like, because some people just don't like all that strong flavor. But for a Mexican beer that has a more prominent flavor, I would say get the Tecate or the Sol. You don't get Sol, right?
Oh, I think we started getting Sol.
Yeah.
S-O-L.
S-O-L. That means sun. Or maybe Carta Blanca would be a good choice. Carta Blanca. But yeah, Tecate is to me the best Mexican beer. But Dos Equis Ambar, Negro Modelo might be one of the best ones. Bohemia Obscura. Now Bohemia is kind of rare around here, but it's not really fair because we're right next to the border, so I can get in my car and drive to Mexico and be there before dark. You know what I mean? So
now,
your situation.
if you're recommending 5 lagers to choose from to recommend to someone, this would not be in the top 5 because
just lagers in general.
Yeah, in lagers in general.
Oh no. If I was going to recommend 5 lagers to a new beer drinker, that's a good question. Let's see. What lagers would I recommend? Probably Tecate. Orion beer, but they wouldn't be able to find Orion from Japan, so I would say probably more like Kirin Ichiban or Sapporo or maybe Asahi. Okay, one of those Japanese beers. Another lager, I'm talking about mainstream lagers, not obscure, ultra gourmet lagers that you can't hardly find except in expensive bottle shops. I'm talking about ones that easily find. So I would say Tecate, one of the Japanese ones like Asahi, extra dry. Miller Genuine Draft, maybe.
Oh, that's nice. I think I liked Miller Extra Life better.
I would say Birra Moretti, probably. Maybe Pilsner Urquell, which is a type of lager.
Yeah.
That's pretty common, but it's a little expensive, but it's good. And maybe. Oh, you gave me a very hard question to answer. Maybe.
What's the first 5 lagers?
Maybe Molson Canadian. Maybe Molson Canadian.
For me, Heineken, Birra Moretti, Peroni, San Miguel, and probably Miller Extra Life. But we don't get Extra Life over here.
Yeah, we don't have any such beer. We get Genuine Draft. I would not put San Miguel in my list because I've had bad experiences with San Miguel. But then, of course, that beer could have been really old by the time it got over here. Secondly, I did like the San Miguel Dark. So, and there's so many other San Miguel beers we cannot get. You know, it's a really hard question because off the top of my head, I could probably name literally 100 beers that are lagers that are mass-produced and not very difficult to find. I'm talking about around me. So, I don't know. That's a really hard question, but I would advise any new drinker to just do like you and I do, a long march through the beer brands, try them all. And you don't have to spend a fortune. If you don't want, let's say somebody doesn't want to pay an exorbitant amount for each bottle. Well, just try different ones. You probably can get away with trying really good stuff but not paying a lot.
Now, how does this compare to the king of beers?
Budweiser. This beer, I think it is inferior to Budweiser. I think Budweiser has more body. It has more alcohol, of course. It has more flavor. I cannot say it has more quality control because Modelo is a very big company and they're very careful about quality control, so I cannot say that. I just think Budweiser is more flavorful, but Budweiser is a very divisive beer. When you say that word, some people just get enraged and they want to physically attack you, but I think Budweiser has more character overall than Modelo, and if I had a choice, if somebody said, okay, here's your only option. For the rest of your life, you can only drink Budweiser or Modelo Especial. What are you going to do? Well, of course, I'll pick Budweiser. But, oh well, that's a ridiculous scenario anyway. But I would pick Budweiser.
For those that say, would you, if you saw it, would you recommend people put it in the basket or try something new every time?
I would tell somebody, hey, you know what? You ought to check out the Modelo line. I would say get the Modelo Especial, get the Negro Modelo, and get the Modelo Especial Chelada. Now, of course, you would have to enjoy tomato juice and clam broth with a touch of lime. But I would say go for it because the Chelada is pretty mild, and I have a video online for the Chelada that I did with a friend who's a big, well, no, he's not a big beer drinker, but he does like to try different beers. So I would say try all three, yes.
Cool.
And you won't spend a lot.
No, I mean that's another thing. The price is really good.
And beyond that, if you make videos about the beer, Modelo might watch your video and then contact you and ask you, would you like them to send you $50 to buy beer and then a bunch of spices, which is what happened with me. Modelo sent me a bunch of nice items so that in exchange I would make videos that bragged on their beer, which I had no problem doing because I liked the Negro Modelo already, so I didn't have to lie.
Now,
I still have to make
cooking with Modelo. Could you really cook with this beer?
Oh yeah, yeah, because it's not too overly strong in the flavor. But it depends what you're cooking. You know, I've never cooked with beer. I always drink beer. I don't cook with it. I drink it. I'm a beer drinker. I'm not a beer cooker. But that's not saying much. But yeah, I think. Look, let's narrow it down instead of getting too philosophical. Let's narrow it down. Let's narrow it down, okay? Let's say we only have two choices: Modelo Especial, good beer or bad beer. What choice do you make?
It's good beer.
Yeah, I would say it's good beer. When you get down to brass tacks, it's good.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I've drank it. If it were a bad beer, I wouldn't have drank it.
I wouldn't drink it either. And I've drunk the bad ones.
Yeah, I'm still alive.
If you ever come to Louisiana, I'll let you try some. We'll go on a long road trip and drive all around, and I'll let you try all types of bad beers, and you will definitely pour them down the drain, and then you can show the world what bad beer truly is and what it truly is not. Luckily, we don't get too many bad ones around here, but I've been on some, like I went to Detroit in July, and I bought a whole trunk full of exceptionally bad beers. But I got to say one thing. They weren't just bad. They were heroically bad. It was almost like they they really put a good effort into make a beer that you really could not drink. So there is something to be said for that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Is there anything else?
hey, next week, let's tell these 300,000 or 400,000 viewers, probably more. I believe next week on Stewart's channel we're going to be looking at Guinness Draft.
Oh, we'll go back on yours.
Mine. I don't want to monopolize. I don't want to monopolize this endeavor. All right, but it's up to you. But it doesn't matter, whatever channel. But we're going to be looking at Guinness Draft, correct?
Yeah. And again, we're going to see the contrast in flavour from bottle and can. I've got the can. You've got the bottle. You'll see if the flavour's different. I mean, as we saw with today, the Modelo flavours didn't
make a difference.
Combine this again.
It didn't really make a difference, did it, can or bottle? But the Guinness is going to be a difference because mine is not nitrin. You know, it's not a nitrous beer. It's just straight beer in a bottle without the nitrogen, which should be an interesting comparison.
So that means you have to turn it upside down.
I guess it's still not It has no widget. It's not going to, you know. Well, we'll get into that next week. But that bottle was made to drink out of the bottle. They actually say drink it out of the bottle.
Ah, okay.
They advise not pouring it in a glass. Interestingly.
Pretty cool.
Okay. Well, thank you, folks, for watching this video production. And y'all come on down to Louisiana or Yorkshire. And you take care. You take care.